leads the way to Zion Highway. Sunny day, I pray. That leads the way to Zion Highway. Now I'm on a journey, always gonna stop me. I see no one in my way. It's even more than words can say. Unless the last year leads away. If it takes more than birds to sing, to let them know he's the only king of kings. God, thy blessing pure. Emperor Selassie, sunny day, I pray. Judge, I need to wait. Desire, sunny day, I pray. That leads the way. Desire, when the king is passing, wicked out his mousing. They can easily be taken away. No for them I hate them, long time must not see them. None of them can come chase her away. Sunny day, I pray. Just a little way, 'cause I and I sunny day, I pray. That is the way, 'cause I and I Jah is shining, just start shining. And Jah will bless a brighter day. No for them I hate them, long time I not see them. So let's see if we cleanse your ways. Do some good today. Jah down to Zion way. Sunny day, I pray. Jah leads the way. To Zion highway. Sunny day, I pray. That leads the way to Zion highway. Though I'm on a journey, always gonna stop me. I see no one in my way. It's even more than words can say. I listen last year, I need the way. If it takes more than birds to sing, to let them know he's the only king of kings. Try thy blessing pure. Emperor Selassie, sunny day, I pray. Judge, I need the way to Zion highway. Sunny day, I pray. Leads the way to Zion highway. When the king is passing, wicked out his mountain. They can easily be taken away. No for them I hate them, long time I start see them. None of them can come chase them.
Peace and salute, peace and salute. What's good? What's good, man? All praise to the Creator. All praise to the Most High God. Thank you, Holy Father, for another day. Please continue to bless us and protect us. Make sure your enemies get destroyed, etc. Instead of us, instead of man. I already know there ain't no friendly fire with you, Lord. So I ain't falsely accusing you. But I'm just saying, I'm just reiterating the positivity, because it's a lot of positivity in those words. And we want to be positive. And unlike some people, they use their platform for non-positive things, pseudo-positive things, evil, wickedness, lies, deception, and all that. And so we're doing the opposite. We're doing the opposite. Today we're going to talk about autogenous proofs. And how there's people out there that's really religious radicals, don't even know it. But we're not going to per se talk about that. We are just going to show and prove that, as I roll this blizzy, we're going to show and prove, son, that we got interesting things to talk about. Anyway, so y'all hear about Oswald the rabbit is being rekindled. And so we showed a lot of Oswald the rabbit artwork. And so we're definitely going to, let's connect it to the Korean build, the Asians and the Koreans. Oswald, the Japanese, and the Oswald the rabbit was the first Mickey Mouse. And then Walt Disney didn't own the rights. Japan owned the rights to Oswald the rabbit. So it's a racist caricature at the end of the day. But let's get started with these autogenous proofs, shall we? All right. Who don't know the scarab beetle? Well, the scarab beetle is an ancient Egyptian symbol. That is, it might be one of the first Black power symbols in the world. And when I say Black power, I mean it could be looked at as that today. But in the past, it was just a power symbol. It was a code. It was a code. It was using imagery as codes to give the original gods a background to be in. So here is one of my favorite lineups comparisons. This is Africa on the left and Mongolia on the right. And it's not just that they're in different places. The concept that you find with this face being shielded is shamanistic. Shamans who conjure and speak with the dead and spirit realm. Shamans who do witchcraft and magic, black magic, and sites, soothsaying. Shamans, right? The whole concept of witchcraft and voodoo is what is for sure what we get with Mongolia. It's for sure what we get with Mongolia. So when you see it in Africa amongst this king, this leader, this chief, then we know that most likely the source of voodoo is in Africa, right? The source of, well, let's say the most powerful versions of it, witches and warlocks, is in Africa. And a lot of Europeans studied that stuff and translated it into things that they do. And what we see here is a connection between these ancient lands and these ancient peoples that deal with an ancient belief system. Okay. And so If this is your first time seeing this type of information, then you should leave here today with being more conscious of the past. Even though I don't know everything, right? Like I don't know who painted this picture. I don't know who painted this picture of person painting somebody else. Now, this is my question. Is he painting a woman or is he painting a man? And then did he paint this picture of himself painting, or did someone else paint this picture of him painting somebody else? Regardless, we was taught growing up that Black people was the lowest part of society according to Europeans. And when I say we was taught, I mean the American education system, its entertainment industry, and everything else around it alluded that minorities were lesser than whites. And that for years, even in the past, when there was black and white TVs, you had racist whites inflict hella damage on Black people communities, right? Like there's a lot of evidence of that. There's not even an issue. So when we see a picture like this, it must be telling about a time before racist America as we know it. And so it's a great mystery. It's a great mystery. So hopefully these pictures would thought provoke enough so that people will be more enlightened, I guess, to other ways of thought. And I intend for the racist and non-racist people alike to see this video and shut the fuck up just alike. You know what I mean? So what we got on the left is probably one of the only pictures. It's one of the only pictures that shows a Black man and a Black woman together in a loving embrace, married, boyfriend, girlfriend, man and woman. You don't really see that. You don't really see that nowhere else in the world. And if you look at this ancient Asian artwork, you see this Black guy, and then you see all those white guys. They is civilians to the shit. You see what I mean? Like the Black dude got rank and they sitting down watching. You know what I'm saying? You got all color dudes. You got a yellow guy, a red guy. Look, the red guy got his corner and they serving him. Let's see, let's go down. You got Black dude. That might be a green dude, green, blackish, blue. It's all a bunch of dark-skinned people. And then down here, where we got light-skinned people off in the corner. All right. Dark-skinned people. Look, they go a white dude right there. Dark-skinned people. And so what you get with what you get when you mix white and Black, you get them yellows, them reds, and them browns. And so this is probably talking about the whole world. You know what I'm saying? And the original rule is God, the man and the woman. The man and the woman, the ancient people of the Congo, their indigenous peoples believed that their God was a man and a woman, a wife, a couple God system. And in the ancient secret people of Japan, their information, the ancient secret society of Japan information, said that Zoroaster was also a married couple. And you got Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, which they say is the Father. It's like Father, Mother, Son. It's a family concept. Deity is the first. So we rebuke the devil in the name of Jesus. This is an image that shows the original rulership You know what I'm saying? The ruling couples and peoples from the ancient times. It's an ancient map. It might be pre-Atlantis. You know what I mean? It might be antediluvian. They might have kept their records in good condition. I know that they found a library of scrolls in this temple. It was behind a wall, and it was thousands of scrolls, and they had to look through it. I wonder what they say. But when we look in ancient Egypt, right? When you look in ancient Egypt, these people are servants. These people are servants. And usually you only see the woman. Usually you only see a woman. And I gotta say to y'all, man, that what I don't know for sure what I'm looking at, but I have a suspicion. I have a suspicion that these are Orientals. And these the same people that do the hair and nails and the weaves and make all the cheap clothes for that Black women get involved with to this day in the United States, because it's pushed on them with the environment that's created with the low income housings, the rules of government assistance, and then the environment that they placed around Black people in poor areas of the country and cities, right, with the prisons, and then the racist police, warring with the people in the streets that are poor, and they, they go home and live in the suburbs somewhere on the other side of town. And so they whole policing is like an exercise to continue to beat down Black women and child. And so we are already seeing the news story where they talk about the chemicals found in the hair products, including the creams, the shampoos, conditioners, the weaves, the wigs, anything that they deal with the Black woman head that they share in their stores in their neighborhoods. That shit is a warfare. It's a chemical against the people. Why is it that when you go to a white neighborhood or a white area of town or a city, you don't even see no Asians out there, bitch? Like, them motherfuckers was out there living, but they ain't got it. Like, you come to the hood and every corner store, gas station, every little food mart that is, you know what I'm saying, that shit is owned by an Asian, and they racist as hell. And they always been racist now. But look at what we looking at. What are we looking at? Because I don't know what's going on here except for that this is subservient. This is subservient, and this is ruler of the world. You see how she's holding the lotus flower? Now I gotta say this, man. I don't know if this a man or not, because he ain't got no titty right here. Usually they got one titty sticking out, and that bump don't look sufficient. So this look like he got like a transsexual bump. And this one looked like he ain't got no bump at all. And so I'm like, all right, so that means that they had turned them, they was zesty. The rulers was into zestiness. Just like Atlanta is zesty now. The rich, the powerful, the most powerful, let's say the most powerful dude in Atlanta is Tyler Perry. And he one of these. He doing this shit, dressing up like Madea. And then the Chinese man is helping them. And this is the mask. This is the mask that's on the face and that y'all are able to see through today or now because of this presentation. So let's pull up Oswald the Rabbit. And what you see here is a racist cartoon, right? Because it's really depicting a Black man with a mask on. All right. And that mask, I don't know, we might get it. We can get into it. Let's go ahead straight to it, because I already got it in the folder right here. Y'all seen Shorty? See that? Because the Gentiles, they not of the people, they're not original. And so they artificial in a sense, synthetic, if you will. And their ability to reach demonic levels is what these people practice as like a exercise with some rich gang. You know what I'm saying? And so, well, there's no explanation for that nor excuse for that from her. Like if you pull this up and say, yo, Beyonce, can you speak on this? But first of all, for all those that might want to doubt out there, you know, I'm someone who's been watching paranormal videos since the late 90s. And so I can tell you right now that you can't CGI something seen through hair. Hair is such a fine detail that it's just like it's increased. It'll be too nobody would try to do that. You know, they might do it where their whole face is covered, and then by the time you see them, their face again, there's got a mask, whatever, like, but not during, not whilst it was happening where she was flinging her hair. And so the reason why we see this, right, is the same thing that I told y'all with the same thing. So the Nigerian pyramid, it's right here, y'all. Don't worry about it. Don't even worry. Okay, worry. Nah, don't worry. Look, we'll go right to it. It ain't nothing. We go right to it. We're not gonna spend more than 30 seconds on shit because we got a presentation. Nigerian pyramids. We'll get it raw off the joint. Pyramid. How do you spell pyramid? Pyramids. Pyramids. So here it is. You see this thing in the background? That's a giant ship right there. That's a giant ship right there. It's like a boat. It's like an aircraft carrier. You know what I'm saying? It's a platform. It's a giant aerodynamic platform that was built by ancient peoples. And the reason why we can even see it, right, is because this pyramid in Nigeria is giving off it's giving off electrical. And so because the way the camera is set up, we are seeing within that electrical field that you can see lightly off this image. I mean, off this pyramid. And so because we could see, it's like our eyesight bouncing off this pyramid, and then we are seeing the projection of this craft in the background, right? So the electricity shield, this electricity aura of this pyramid allows us to see something different when we look through it, right? Let's say there was a bubble around it and we were looking at this pyramid. In the background, outside the bubble, we'd see this. It was like if we would use it as a lens. You know what I'm saying? And so it's the same thing with this, right? Through her hair, right? We are able to see through them antennas. We can see, I guess, some type of soul content. See, but this is not really this is not really unknown to us. Let's go to excuse me. This is difficult. I might have put it up there. And, hold on. Could be an article. All right, we're not spending no more time on it. So the point would be that the Japanese, right? Let's see if we can look it up. The Japanese show let's see if we can see. The Japanese show this woman and her head backwards, and she a reptile. Now I seen a in the face, right? I seen a footage back in the days of this girl who was filming something in the camera. So she propped the camera up in front of a mirror, and then she stood in front of the mirror, and I don't know what she began to do, but a face started to show up in the mirror coming from behind her head. All right. Anyways, let's keep it moving. All right, the concept of the white face, like he went full geisha. Like he chose this look as a form of body mutilation. Like he chose this look. And so look what the Africans say about this look. The Africans say that they got a chip in their head, or their mind is under control, or they a synthetic person. And so in Africa, this face and red lips represent eyes closed. In Japan, they showing the eyes open, mouth closed. In Africa, Japan, the mouth is open. And why they got gold teeth, Japanese people don't even rock gold teeth like that. So it's like, this meatball definitely guilty, man. Look at his weird ass. Come on, man. Yo was a crash out for real, because he didn't have no real nose and he had no real hair. So and he had no real skin. So he was like a little monster and shit. You thought that he wasn't a crash out? They out there looking just like them meatballs. Look. They probably talking about a monkey though, but see, this is the point, is this white mask. This is the mask that Oswald the rabbit is wearing. And so you see how he got pointy ears? What is Oswald? Oh, they do say he's a rabbit, but it's just a cover, right? Like they would say Daffy Duck and Howard the Duck and Donald Duck, but it's really a cover for a Kappa demon, which is an exclusive Japanese connection. And it's proof that, you know what I'm saying, Japan, the modern day Japanese and the modern day European American races are in collusion, in cahoots. They in confederation of each other. So a Kappa is something in college that a fraternity, a person can be a part of. But in Japan, what is it? In Japan, what is it? That's a Kappa. So if you look up Kappa fraternity hand symbols, hand sign. There you go. See, they made it to where everybody's kids already one step into the occult, Satanist, Luciferian, anti-God, anti-Christ system. Because ain't this the shit they be holding over their eye when they say that they is oh, they are part of Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they're part of Illuminati and shit. So that's a Kappa demon. That's the Kappa hand symbol. Right? Let's do Illuminati hand sign. Let's say over the eye. Oh, they're doing a bunch of circles and shit. Look, see hand signs associated with Illuminati. Now, the OK, they say it's the OK sign. But that shit is, hold on, let's get it, somebody using it. There it is. See that? Is she a Kappa? Did she go to college? No, we already know what that is. Right? And so check this out, right? To add to that. Like this bitch doing it. Who is that? Katy Perry or somebody. So now check this out. The blood gang hand sign. It's probably 1,000 of them. See? B for blood. You see that? That's the same symbol for that demon, for this Kappa, for that Kappa demon. Because, all right, how long have fraternities been going on for? How long have fraternities and secret societies and all that shit been going on for? So, yeah, that shit, them people is at all times zest level. You know what I'm saying? Because the shit tied in with the devil. They want poison the divine nine concepts, making it to where it empty off into a Prince Hall and Eastern Star concept, but they're not recognized by Europeans in the same country with the segregation between Freemason lodges. England don't have that. In England and the rest of the world, a black man is in the lodge, they go through the same shit everybody else go through. So I'm just saying, that's Kappa demon, that's Japanese. The Japanese came up with this Eastern Pacific movement to where they claim to be the leaders of non-whites against oppression and all this other shit. And so I'm pretty sure that all the people that's involved with the Japanese think they doing the best thing. Like that's why NBA YoungBoy is over in Korea. Japanese, Korea, same thing. It's the same shit at this point. You know what I'm saying? So this is sellout. It's even more than sellout. You know how bad this version of sellout is? It's the original, it's the Aboriginal, the evil Aboriginal Americans. Heavily still in control since the days where they was called the Anunnaki. And we dealing with their bloodlines to this day. That's why Lionel Richie out there like he is. That's why Smokey Robinson is out there like he is. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's why Russell Simmons out there like he is. You know? That's what it is. Look, that's a slave whip. Germans, what do they call it? Flatulence group back in medieval Europe used to beat themselves with this. That means they was putting themselves under the slavery of God, willingly suffering and whipping, and basically it was self-mutilation shit. They said that they needed to beat themselves to rid the land of the plague. Right? When you see the picture of that white man, let's go to whitewash. Where can we find whitewash at? Whitewash. Whitewash is like, okay, I might put this in. Whitewash. I don't even see it in here, man. It's messed up. I know where I can find it. I mean, a true mystery, man. True mystery. This, if I can find this for y'all, I'll show you. Whitewash. This version of whitewash should have it. So check this picture out. So, do they even know who this is? So, anyways, this is like Prester John, right? And so this man got the ball. That means he the king of the world. Do you see that? King of the world. Who also was known to be king of the world? King David, King Solomon, king of the world. Solomon was king of the world. Mount Musa, the richest and wisest man in the world. Solomon, Prester John. See, they made all kinds of names to confuse people. Right? It even seemed like they wanted to confuse themselves about it so they could give themselves amnesia and say that there is free from the sin of their fathers, which they are not. Because the fallen angels is said to have desired to have kids, and that's why they came down and then went with women. And so the curses that God told Enoch that the fallen angels will suffer for their sin is that they'll watch their kids destroy each other. And so that means that God had planned out a future beyond the reach of fallen angels themselves and would pertain to their children. And so the way the Most High God's Spirit cooked the situation is that they got a love almost, it's just close to heavenly, almost heavenly, close, very high love for their children now. They feel for their kids. And they're going to destroy themselves because they're not taught properly. They was from the fallen angel bloodlines, and anything they do is not going to suffice, right? You know what I'm saying? And so now you got these rich kids that's out here. These the rich kids doing all type of things that rich brats wasn't doing when we was growing up. Even when we was just growing up. That's just a few years ago. And so you have it here where white people, they wasn't, the sun was tearing their dumb ass up. Which whoever was out there, right? The sun would fuck them up. So they wore this type of stuff to keep the heat off them, to keep the sun off them so they won't burn up. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, right? They was selling their own. You know what I mean? They sell their own. They came up as a slaver. And so you got the rich black dude, right? And then you got, if anybody out of this race of people had money, they was doing something like this. They was a slaver, something important, something to serve the original monarchy, because they was the servants. You don't get Slavic slave connection for no reason. They shouldn't be mad about it. They need to just be able to talk it out. And so when some of them Slavs came up, was put to use and all of that shit, they became the elite of their own people. And therefore it was a mirror government. Mirror governments was set up around the world with non-blacks as the leaders to control other non-blacks for the landowner, from the autonomous original rulers, like they're supposed to be doing the bids of the gods. You know what I'm saying? But they the ones doing the bids of the gods. They related to the gods. And so it became a thing where they wanted to see white gods. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, man, there's a picture out here. Let's see. All right. That exists. And this is why it's all pertinent. And this is the picture. So somebody tell me why that we're looking at, essentially, it's not the exact same picture, right? But we're looking at the same illustration, storyline. And so look, the slaver is a black man, and the king, you could clearly tell that they had rubbed that shit off or erased the melanin. They done damaged the surrounding joint a little bit, but they don't, you know what I mean? Like, look at that blotchy work with their attempts to erase the melanin off the person's skin. Like, that shit don't look right, especially right up in here. You know, when you was erasing shit as a kid, and sometimes you erase right through, you know, how many of y'all ever erase right through the paper? Can't erase too hard. You gotta do that. You gotta be that light eraser. You gotta just on the top. You don't want to fuck it up using that eraser, man. Anyways, so look, it's easy to fill this shit in and make it dark. It's easy to get some black ink, you know what I'm saying, and dip it in there and just say, it's all black. This is a black man. But do you know that when they had made these type of images and pictures, there was detail that you could see. And so, here it's just like, it's just blobs. You don't see no detail. And we already seen the original version. So this just goes to show the type of challenge that people of color have to put up with if they ever researching these type of things, or anybody got to put up with if they trying to research any of this. You know what I'm saying? Because there's discrepancies out here meant to like knock people off. Look, they use that shit, the Rockefeller, all them type of Illuminati. They all saying they Illuminati, they fuck with Illuminati. And you got the mainstream rappers doing it. That shit, Black Illuminati is Blue Illuminati. You look at the oldest shit, them Illuminatis is on, them meatballs is on some Hebrew shit. So. Hebrew joints come from Africa, man. Africa was, Kubalan is from the Atlantic Ocean all the way to the Pacific Ocean. That whole land, that whole stretch, all that shit that wasn't under ice. Look, the belt is the same, son. Like a double belt, a double belt. So look, man, shit, wow, look at that. So if they saying that this was made after white people got there and told them the story of Christ, that means all these artworks was made after the white people got there. And this don't look 2,000 years old. So obviously it's a story. But how did it get there? Did the conquistadors force them people to make some artwork like this? Anyways, man, let's get back to the show though. So the relationship between these people, man. We're going to look at this line, this concept of statues. First of all, this is Korea. This is Korea, early 1900s. This is Korea before the war. This might be late 1800s. This might be late 1800s. I want y'all to get a look at that. That's Korea, late 1800s, early 1900s. Pixel T with yo, peace, queen, salutes to you. What's up with you? She asks, so channeling a demon is exactly that, and they broadcast it to feed it. No, they don't broadcast it to feed it. People that is exposed to the broadcast could be victims to it. A broadcast would just be putting it out there. When people view the broadcast, then they become potentially a victim to it. All right. So let's say somebody thinks that, all right, whenever I show this purple sign, I'm gonna curse whoever watching. And whenever I show this green sign, I'm gonna curse all extra, they'll go extra into it, try to get ultra personal with people and create like a whirlwind of things that are extra personal to a person, and then apply it to the masses if they're looking. And then so now it's a magnetic auric effect where people could be attracted to self-destruction, and therefore they become fans of what they seeing and hearing. You know what I'm saying? And they be led to destruction. And that would be, one way or another. And that would be like the movie The Ring, I think, had a concept like that, and Final Destination, left side is perishing. That's some shit. So it's like they try to curse people with that, basically. And if they, Travis Scott concert shit. And so if they get people to be exposed to the venom, then they gonna die of its poison. And then the people that perish, the souls is harvested through knowledge, because once the person know that they that they is, or like Travis Scott, when he knew people was dying in his concert, I rebuke them. He acted accordingly and to his ideas, and so he did all types of weird chant and humming and shit when they was carrying out the bodies, and so he was performing on that blood sacrifice frequency, if you will. And that's what the witches and warlocks ever do, is they're trying to feed the concept of Satan and the devil through the dark crafts that they put out and try to use on people. So now that y'all seen that, here is a close-up. Here is a close-up of the lion, and there's a close-up of the face. Did you get that picture to you good? So here it is, right? The people with that face, there's people with that face. So you see that nose right there? I mean, I know a lot of people can have that nose, so this is a great example. And it's the same nose that you see right there, basically. Like, I don't know who he is, but he probably from he's from a dragon bloodline. You know what I'm saying? Which would be just a rich, we would think maybe a rich black family, well-to-do, but we don't really know, because all the rich people come down to where non-elites are and pretend to have a whole nother identity, a whole persona, right? But the concept of the dragon bloodline with big noses, yeah, that's some shit that, let's see, can we go through that real quick? Let's go with African reptilian statue. Oh, wait. African shape shit. All right, we should find that. There it is. So here go a part of a series of statues in which they show this one in particular. Well, they all got the same, pretty much. They got different face, but he's shape-shifting to a reptilian. And so the nostrils you see is not small by any means. As a matter of fact, when you go to Black Buddha, oh shit. See, look at the Black Buddha statue, where his nostrils at, if his nose was complete, where his nostrils would be damn near lined up with the corner of his mouth. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the indicator of bloodline. Let's see, what's his name? Computer. What's the name of the black cardinal from South Africa from the 80s?
There wasn't a black South African cardinal in the 1980s. The cardinals then were white, like Owen McCann, appointed 1965, and later Wilfred Napier, made cardinal in 2001.
So what was that South African black leader that was so close to the Pope? What was his name?
The black South African leader who was notably close to the Pope was Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Would you like to hear about Archbishop Tutu's special relationship with Pope John Paul II?
Yes. Yes.
Desmond Tutu's deep Catholic connections showed up early. He married in a Catholic church and maintained friendly ties with its leaders, earning the respect of Pope John Paul II. They actually met several times. Would you like to hear about their most significant encounters?
No.
Got it. We'll wrap it up.
So Desmond Tutu, right? He the one that got me on to this this concept of lining up the African reptilian shape-shifting statues. After this started everything going, because you look at his nostrils, right? He was somebody up there when it came to Africans somehow, right? And he was like, I thought it was a card. He was with the Pope. He wore all this Catholic shit, South Africa or whatever. But look at them nostrils. Look at them nostrils in full flare. That's a dragon trait. That's a reptilian bloodline trait. Do you see that? Man, this shit wild, son. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing because his nose big as a bitch. Let's go to Sumerian reptilian artifact. All right. Just the one with the wings. Reptilian female with wings. You'll have to see. We might see it. That's Japanese. That. So we'll go find it then. We'll go find it. Look, here go another picture. This is another look. That's a whole nother statue. And that show is like that. See, there's more than one statue, and they showing that there's more than one type of nose, but they all extravagant as hell. So anyways, what I was looking for. What I was looking for. I was looking for the Sumerian joint. To show that the Sumerian nostrils, the reptilian nostrils, wide. So look, this is not what I'm looking for, but we're gonna find it. But that is also showing how wide a nostril of a reptile is, or a snake. Look, let's go look at Beyonce Pops. Yeah, he made the cut. Right? That's what you call a black gem, son. You see, it makes sense now. Damn. Shit makes sense. See? Beyonce came from money. They got the comfortability to groom their kids into a meatball. You know what I'm saying? Look, big ass nose, dog. Reptile. Reptile. Big nose. Big nose reptile. What? Different type of nose. Sharp nose. Damn. Big nostrils. So by the time you sex down these genetics into a human looking person, they got a little, you know what I mean? They got one of them big noses and shit. Or not, they ain't gotta be big nose. But it's, you know what I mean? Like, it's the nose. That's the same nose off Buddha shit. Off the Buddha statue. See that? So that's dragon bloodline features. You know what I'm saying? That's dragon bloodline features, man. Look. Mojo Brooks. That's a dinosaur. That's a real reptilian right there, man. That's a real reptilian right there. That's an aboriginal reptilian bloodline. And you can tell you should be able to tell just by looking at it. Hold up. That's why I'm telling y'all, man. Hold on. Escape. Yeah. Exit full screen. Yeah. Look, triangular eyes, nose. Damn. So watch this. Watch this. All right, we'll get it. There it is. Look at this. So check out the nose. Look at the nose. Look at that wide nostril nose right there. That's a reptile. That's a reptile. This is ancient Sumerian, right? Like the person drew what they saw. They got a little ear and shit. Look, big nose reptile, man. It's real. Like, it's an aboriginal feature. Look at her. She from an ancient bloodline. She a survivor of Tulsa, Oklahoma. You know what I mean? Of the bombing at Tulsa, Oklahoma, they was trying to run out these aboriginal bloodlines. Goofy. Look at the nose. Look how wide that shit is. Look at that. Look, Usher, a whole meatball. He a whole meatball out there with herpes. Look, he looked just like Usher. Now, we don't know who these people is really, man. We don't know who we be looking at. It could be from one of these bloodlines, right? With these big nose reptilians. Damn. And so, you know, I have a theory about all that, right? Check this one out. This one lines up the Sumerians with the Americans, showing and proving that they the same. Look at that, the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki, the reptilian people, the dragons, black dragons. Look, what's that? That's the same. Look at the flat back. Look at the flat back reptile, baby. Look. Flat back reptile baby. Look, flat back of the head. Flat back of the head. You see the back of the head? It's flat. You see that? So that's the Americas. It's the Sumeria. They're talking about the same people, but the Sumerians definitely is more detailed. Sumerians is more detailed. It looked like a dang on replica, but this one got earrings though. Why would he do that? Look at your nose. Look at your nose. Look at that big ass nose. What? That's some big ass. That's the big nose, boy. That's a reptilian feature, man. That's a snake reptoid feature, man. Look how big that shit is. That shit crazy looking. Boy. And so look at this dinosaur. This dinosaur got a damn nose on it. Look, I kid you not. It got a beak or some shit on it. So that's telling you that it go back, this trait go back to pre-humans as we know it. And they could have been some creatures that totally phased themselves out into a humanoid body. You know what I mean? By now. And so look, I'm just saying, look at this. This is from Bosnia. This is from Eurasia. Look at that shit. Look at that, boy. That's tough right there, man. That's exactly what the F that is. And so people started wearing bird masks to try to hide that. But as a matter of fact, let me add that. Let me add that. Okay. So yeah, man, check it out. That big nose, that big black nose. Japanese know about it. The Japanese know about it. So the land of the rising sun is really an Aboriginal American concept because Konnichiwa is greetings in Japan, right? But Konnichiwa also is the sun god of the Mayans. And so the name of a sun god being used as a greeting is a trait of people who learn and who are supplementive, who are secondary, who are sub, who are, you know what I mean? They're a branch of. And the source is the meaning for the sun god. So Konnichiwa is an Aboriginal American word for the sun god or name for the sun god. Proves it that the land here predates the Japanese understanding as a greeting. Y'all understand that? And I didn't go to Harvard. You know what I'm saying? So here it is where they go to artwork from Africa. I'm not from Africa, from Japan on the right. Like this is Japanese, right? And so they don't have a full education about these American peoples, because here's America and they go the same beings or people, right? That's shown, but there's no education on these people. We just got these codexes, we got these art because they didn't burn these also. They burned a whole bunch of other stuff. They burned the libraries around the world and then started lying about shit. But you see these ancient tradition shows that Japan, once again, is a main target of revenge for what's going on in America. It's something going on about Japan and where they is mirroring or trying to parallel an Aboriginal American truth in secret. That's what it seemed like. You know, they came out with the Nintendo and people started to use terms like "you got me killed," or they playing the game and they say, "Oh, dang, all this D word and shit," and you know what I mean? I got an extra man, I got an extra life. I ain't got no more lives left. Got all this lingo coming from the advent of the Nintendo Entertainment System. And now people is saying that they is D word because and so look, when you look at this Aboriginal American, ancient American artwork, what you see is that these people here are creating people. And if you believe in clones and test tube babies and homunculus and, you know, avatar, synthetic avatar robot, android slaves being made, then look no further than the ancient American sources. Because when you look at these pictures, man, it don't take a rocket scientist to know what they're saying. Right? One big nose person, another big nose person. Now, I've seen a lot of these pictures, and yeah, their noses do look different sometimes. They make a different type of people all the time. So, anyways, man, yeah, that's good. So, oh, come on, what's going on here? Come on, don't do that, man. What the fuck? There we go. Go away. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, all right. Yeah, the left side is rebuked. All right. The Pope, etc., is rebuked. Yesterday, we talked loosely about Lionel Richie, the Lion's Gate that recently came across. The Pope and the Jubilee of 2023, and the Pope name is Pope Leo. Right? And so today we are also talking about or using this lion imagery to say that this was talking about the gods and their families and all their people. And just like the Trojan horse had people hidden within, so does these statues, or this statue like this, where it represents a person and their people, a whole nation altogether, a nation of people with this, right? And so within it, look at all them circles and shit. All them circles is all them other worlds that you see on the Nos Confundra. Nose confunden. Let's see. This joint. You see all them circles? You see all them circles? Represent different places in the world. That's what these are. Because you know what I mean? Enough said. All right. So that's Korea. That's ancient Korea. Now, when we look at Europe and how they talk about the lion, they always talk about black people. Right? Now that we know what we know about this imagery, this type of imagery, right? Where you never see no lion look like that. It's a computer vessel because it houses all that it does with people that know. And so, look, when you see it like this is a black lion. Where in the world is there a black lion? And so with these two white people on the side, they're like, what? Is that a white person hat? That's not a white person hat. That's a Chinese person hat. So what are they doing? Right? That's Ken and Ryu. Right? That's Ken and Ryu versus Balrog. They verse Balrog because Balrog $50 is playing his character in the movie. Balrog is this. Balrog is this. You see, Balrog is an American fighter. And look at the colors he got on. Red, white, and blue. He looked like Mike Tyson. And it was basically a copy of Mike Tyson. Right? He got hair like Demolition Man's Wesley Snipes. But yo, look. Balrog. Right? This is Japan, right? This is how Japanese do people, right? So look. When you look at this Killer Instinct, it's also a video game. TJ Combo. Right. This came later after what'd you call it? Balrog from Street Fighter. And so here it is again, right? Making the black man, the Aboriginal man, a boxer, and an American patriot or something like that. Right? You know what I'm saying? This is years later between these two games. You know what I'm saying? But it's Japan. That's the only common ground there. So look, when you see lions, because where lions at in Europe? There ain't no lions in Europe. They talking about black, not only just black people, but black monarchy original people. And so they already were talking in code symbolically. And so it become like there's talking in code and talking in code and talking in non-code, pro-monarchical side, right? The matriarch was involved. And then you had the code, possibly maybe even shit talking code from the so-called Europeans. And then as time went on and the reversal, the roles reversed, it became a whitewash of history altogether. That's why using these pictures is useful and helpful, right? To get these ideas across and brought up, because this is the concept of the lion altogether. Now, we saw Korea, and there's a lot to say in that Korean picture. It looked like a bunch of mud flood ruins, a lot of uneven squalor going on over there at the time of that picture. And people got to ask, why is that? But we'll go back to that. Right now, you see things totally from different places in the world. And so these would be icebreakers so that people understand that there's a universal language involved. When you see this stuff growing up, this was what rich white people go out, see in museums and shit. It was the concept, you know what I mean? China, that look Chinese. I don't know what that is. But here go Greek, they go the Etruscans, they go American. And so America too is involved with this worldwide representation of lions. And when you realize that they used to be a species of American lion, then it should start to click together when you see them ancient concepts of the Sumerians. The Sumerians, they always talking about fighting some lions, right? Holding up some lions. There's ones where even that day is like fighting with the lion. I don't know why this is not loading. I don't know why it's not loading. There you go. Look, they make sure to show this type of shit, right? Where the lion getting tagged up, right? But check this out. I can prove that this is not what it seems by the fact that so the way they be showing the sun god, Anyway, so there was this picture I ain't gonna find. So here it is, lions, right? I rebuke the devil in the name of Jesus. For real. Rebuke the devil in the name of Jesus. Destroy my enemies instead of the Father says. This is Europe. This is China. This is America. This is the oldest coin in the world. The oldest coin in the world. The oldest coin in the world. And so we can prove furthermore that this represent a people, even though they very well might have had lions. But you see how they mixed them together, right? Where you see the knots in the hair is the Bantu knots you see in the Buddhas, right? With their nose, see, that's why they attack the noses of these statues. And so this shit talking about monarchies and shit, like, yeah, demonology. You know what I'm saying? Ain't that what the Vatican does? Don't the Vatican got concepts of exorcism and dealing with demons and shit like that? So yeah, that's something. Like, nobody can say that it's dirt or it's incense smoke when yo got dreads. You know what I'm saying? That's wild. How racist was it back in the day? If this type of issue was going on, how racist could it have been? And so if it wasn't that racist, then what the hell? What was going on? Something going on, because look, that's America, that's Haiti. They got on, they talking about kingship. Look, they say the Indian queen. The Indian queen. Now, I never knew of anybody in India being a queen, right? But I do know that when depicting India, you don't get this. You don't get images like this, right? That look just straight up out of like the Powhatan. If I would have had that, that shit would have been powerful. The Powhatan, the picture of the Powhatan off in the north. It's not in there. Let's go. We're going to see a fake version. See, that's the fake version. They got 1,000 fake versions to this shit. Right. So that's just like the whitewash shit I showed y'all earlier on Ridge. Yeah. So anyways, y'all should already know that deal with the Americas. grass skirts. That's the Pacific Islands. And here you got, she got the lotus flower. That means she ruled the world. She a matriarch, she a queen. So she a sun goddess. She a sun goddess. So that means she an Inca, right? Yeah. Yo, look. So there it is. This mark of royalty that exists that represents the kings and queens of a place and thing. You see it subtly there. Right? Look under his turban. You see there's a crown under there. There's a crown under that turban. So look at that. That's the red cross. That's the Crusader's cross. Right? That's a conquistador. And so it wasn't just Indians, but naked, what they call them? Siberians in the Americas when them conquistadors was over here. Like, you could tell in their art because they wasn't destroying everything. Look at that, those black people right there. And so this represents black people in Mexico, which would make them Mayans, and how the conquistadors came over here. Now they call it Matamoros. It's near the border of Texas in Mexico. It's a city called Matamoros, which literally translates to kill black people. And then all the time, like 80 to 90% of people of Latino descent vote for Trump. You know what I'm saying? Always voted Republican, always took the chance to be around whites and try to get away from anything melanated. They can't relate to nothing. Not civil rights, none of that shit. They come straight lawlessness now. You know what I'm saying? Out there in them lands. So we don't know what was going on past the fact that these people had castles. And so now, right? Now you could tell for sure that black people is associated with building castles. Okay. They got castle. That's not a TP. That's a castle in the background. And these people out here is being, you know what I mean, overrun by these Europeans. Right? From the land of rabbits, where people mix together. They're the mulatto army of the white supremacy race concepts. Ain't that something? And so here it is. So this is a Mayan. This is a Mayan with a fasces in his arm, and a fasces is a gun. It's a rifle. It's a weapon, right? It's a weapon that they had. You know what I'm saying? It's a fasces. That's a war weapon, son. That means, yeah. So when you see this concept of polka dots on these ancient Mayans, you see he an Aboriginal American because his weight, right? His weight is just like, I didn't think I put that down. I sure enough didn't do it. His weight is like how Hawaiian people, Polynesian people, heavyweight, Aboriginal Australian people have a hella weight. Hold on. I gotta check the chat. Let's be real. In order to take an area, you have to eliminate the top predator in the said area. That's what Live and Learn said. It was definitely a European lion. What was a European lion? A character in the world says Canada. Sunshine, what's up, Queen? Salutes to you. Did you check out those cartoons? The whitewashed character has one bulging eye. Canada said, Jay Sunshine, this knows though. Des knows though. Canada said he always gave me the creeps. That's all the luggage for today. Jay Sunshine said point down, then and out. Pointer. Pixel T with Yo said, I think Erica K is one. The video of her interview, The Great Race, is excellent footage. Her eyes shift, change colors, and dilate, and her eyes are not blue. Those are contacts. I think she wears them to hide the slit shifting eyes. The Lord say it definitely was a European lion. The Lord say, let's be real. In order to take over an area, you have to eliminate the top predator in the said area. I assume you're talking about the lions. You said European didn't have lions. Yeah, Europe don't have lions. Europe don't have lions. Are you contesting that? Then you saying that Europe has lions? And that's who they're talking about? But I mean, are you saying also that there's a bunch of lions in the area and shit, and that they had to cut through the lines, like they had to weed through more territory and like hack the bush? I got time for the chat. I'm sorry for overloading. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. Europe had lions. Okay. Okay. Europe had lions. Europe had, all right, let's say Europe had lions. Europe had lions. Where is the tradition of wearing a lion's cap? A lion's, what do they call it? A lion's felt, right? A lion's felt. Pelt. What do they call them? Pelts? I think it's pelt. A felt. I forgot. But where is it a tradition in Europe that they wear lion skin or lion fur? Oh. I can't even like search and prove that it won't come up because AI will make it. But live and learn. I'm here, man. Europe had lions. Where the tradition at? Europe had lions, where a lion was venerated. What European lion can you speak of besides Richard the Lionheart? You probably wouldn't even thought of that if I hadn't said nothing. Okay, so you just pulled up their artwork and said they stole it. You a damn lion, I can prove it. Let's go back to it. Is this what you talking about? Let's go ahead and have this out in front of everybody, man. Don't run. This is what you're talking about? Yes or no? I know it's like 7-second difference. Yo, you said I pulled up AR. Let's highlight that shit, so you know that I'm dressing you. All right. This is just potential smidge, y'all. Let's see. Okay, the lions on the flags, you said it meant black people. I said, yeah, I said that. I said the lions on the flags. Yeah. That shit is about black people. That's what I'm saying about lions altogether. If you've been paying attention, any depiction of the lion from the top was originally an anamorphic concept. And that anamorphia is explaining the autochthonous people and the matriarch that was going on, right? And so that anywhere that you see that tradition, you see that shit going on, it come from people of color being depicted in code. Do you understand that? You just pulled up the arm and said they stole it, the lines on the flags. You said it meant black people. Facts. Who is going to mean? Like who is you to say that we should deviate from what it's been known as? Are you going to change these people's mind 1,000 years later? I'm showing you that the lion, right, since this first being popular to be used for something like imagery, right, originated with shit. An anamorphic type style. You know what I'm saying? Where it's an animal disguised as a human or a people. You know what I'm saying? And so, like I said, the scarab beetle was the same thing, right? The scarab beetle was a first intentional version of this type symbolism. And so, what I'm saying is that shit. I think we was here. Is that with that American lion artifact predating all the other ones? This concept of royalty with the black dots, you know what I'm saying, originate in America, right? Look, and I was talking about the nose and how the nose was a big nose is a trait. So, man, I don't know what you're paying attention to, but I'm going to stop there because I think I already had addressed this whole concept of lions. The depiction of large cats on the depiction are the depiction of the top predator every landmass. Top predator. I mean, so what about eagles? You ain't going to give hawks, falcons, or eagles any type of credit. When was they fighting an eagle? You know what I'm saying? And what you trying to say? Look, them holding up the lions means taming the wild. Sometimes you might see them holding up a snake or two snakes, any animal. Sometimes they holding up like deers or some shit, right? It's like you'll see this symbol where a man is holding up two animals by the foot. That represent taming the wild. So what is your point, though? A depiction of large cats or the depiction of the top predator? I don't know. All right. Well, I'm gonna just all right. That's just a statement, and that's fine. That's a statement. All right. So look, I'm gonna further explain. You know, we had just looked at that nose. Remember, that shit looked just like that nose. Man, look, and they got dreads. When's the last time you seen any ancient depiction of dreads? Well, why you think that is? Because them people can't relate to it. You know what I'm saying? And so they don't see how, all right, with the absence of dreads, it's gonna raise some alarm, raise some eyebrows, because dreads are easy to get if you got the proper hair for it. A person could have dreads in no time. The San people of South Africa, hair grow in dreads. So they don't even grow hair strands, they grow dreads. Each follicle, they all come together, I guess. So that should tell you that this is authentic, what I'm saying, right? The body weight is associated with the Polynesian, the Pacific Islanders and things like that. Australia and Aboriginal Americans got that type of build, right? And so here it is where, look at the nose. Look at the nose. The nose is special. It's a special nose. That's a reptilian bloodline nose. You know what I'm saying? And so when you see this, pattern, that represent royalty, but they're not going to tell you that or explain things so that we know it. Live and Learn said, do you understand that every creature that was a threat to humans are extinct or damned? And they're extinct now. Humans don't take threats kindly. I mean, ask the dinosaurs, man. Miss Dawn, Peace Queen, salutes to you. Miss Dawn say John Smith also was John Lyons. When I was looking up his information in Europe, the church that went bankrupt was good. So this is ancient American information that the conquistadors and them didn't want us to know. But here it is, right? Proof that kingship of the world is represented here, man. Look, they'll lie about these things and what these pictures are, but they'll keep the picture. And look, that's like a silk leather type mix or something. So certain people was dressed in certain ways. You know what I mean? Like how this king, he's dressed up in what we would recognize as, like, you know, kingly robes, right? And so statuses and things could have had people dressing different, and they over here talking about how they had different time or some shit. So this is Hawaii. Well, no, this is Hawaii. No, this is Polynesia. This is like, no, that's Hawaii on the left. Yeah, that's Hawaii. So look, oh my gosh. You see how their swag, they got it in there automatically. The black parts too, where the polka dots is, or would be. You see that? Like all kings and queens wear that shit supposedly, right? But look, anytime you see them, Like these pictures be looking fake as fuck nowadays. Like damn, they really was shitty artists in a way. But I don't know, it's like your eyes get older to shit. So here just 3 random kings depicted on, looking up kings out of Europe and shit or whatever. And that's what they say they look like. And so here's evidence that survived book burnings, library burnings, genocides, all types of plagiarism and shit, and hidden secret, and locked up and secret and shit. All this stuff. I'll repeat the devil. Review the devil. But here you got it where man, see that? Like the black dots, that is not even the polka dots. They kind of like what we just saw in Hawaii. You know what I'm saying? And so that's a royal effect to have the black background and the white dots or the white squiggly lines. I mean, the black squiggly lines and the black dots. See, and I think this art is so intricate, right? That is showing a type of fashion, and this always happens when you see melanated people with the knights and the knight armor. And this is like the amount of detail it take to draw it, right? The amount of detail it would take and the realisticness that's how it looked. That's what it was. I would say that her garments was complex, right? And so to like draw complex garments is difficult when you just drawing, you making some up. Like, if it was not real or not what they meant, there's so many things that will back up something else. And so on top of all of that, coded royal swag, right? You have blonde hair. Blonde hair, ain't that wild? And so we know Aboriginal Australians, people in Solomon Islands, they got blonde hair, though they're dark skinned. And so why they named them places Solomon Islands? You know what I'm saying? Like why they named them places Solomon Islands, and where is the rest of the information like this that the libraries or the documentaries do and all this other shit? They slack. They slack. Look, the bottom. Who would draw some shit like that and be racist? Like, it's not the ops. The ops wouldn't make no shit like that. They would burn something like this, right? And hide it from people. So here is a former king of Congo. Look how he was moving. This whole staff is made out of crystal, diamonds, and jewels and gold. This whole staff is filled with diamonds and gold. That shit is like $1 billion in his hand. You know what I'm saying? And you had all these diamonds. Look at this shit. And so, like every country in the world do this, man. Look at that shit. Look what he got on the little dots. He the king. So I ain't bluffing. Now look at this though. So the Russians dropped this content. And so what's interesting is that what he's showing here is Black Jesus. So it ain't no mistake that these people is dark skinned, right? Because there ain't no disfiguration around Jesus. So they meant for it to be dark skinned like that. They didn't erase that shit or change it up. No. So now look, this is America, right? There's some codexes the pages that they didn't destroy. And you see basically people of this nature and this nature going at it. Now look at this right here. When you bring up let's go. Let's go bring up the ancient. Hold on, chat. Hold on. Coat of arms for the Castile. Yeah. Tanika Phillips, peace and salutes to you, Queen. What's good? Which all right. So this one right here. This one right here is the House of Castile, or the Castile family. And so this topic from here would go into the whole surname, the whole concept of giving a name and getting a name, and who was named, who had the first names, and who was how names was used, like how they would say Tom's son was the son of a Topper, and you know what I mean, John's son was the son of John, stuff like that. And so when you get into the Castile, that means that they was the people of the castles. And that color code that deal with the castles brings in the lion, and it brings in all those concepts that associated with this. And so that would include the Tibetans, the Aboriginal Australians, and now, as I just showed y'all, the Americans. You see the color code red, gold, and black? Look, there it is. Red, gold, and black. And so those are types of the sun, right? It's the black sun, and it's the blood sun, and it's the sun. And that's what that is. These are sun people, and the Inca are descended, or a sun family, descended from the sun. You see that? And so here it is, where when you see this color code throughout the world, and anything else is always important. It's always highly important, because it's like the Trinity to sun worship. All right. It's the Trinity to sun worship. The deity is deferred to. So here it is, where this is two versions of artwork from the Americas. And I zoomed in on them so you can see that they both got accentuated noses, right? Which we had just went over, talking about them being reptilian traits with the nose. All right. And so the concepts of code, speaking in code, we went over that, where they take ideas. Well, you know, instead of saying a black person, they would use, or there would be used some type of anamorphic imagery to stand instead of showing a black person. And so black people in this one picture only exist in these coded images, where you have the lion, you have the castle, and you have black bird, right? Everybody else is white. Look, he's white. He's white over here on the side. So you're talking about that relationship that they always show with the red-headed white guy and the black guy. You see? And so this is another version of it, And here you can see that the anamorphic imagery is true amongst ancient Aboriginal Americans and people of the world. So, well, it's really the code that's followed from America. So, you know what I'm saying? Miss Dawn say Jackson, son of John or Jack, which is also John. Oh, really? John. That's interesting. Y'all good on the questions? There it is. So we proved that, or we showed that, right? That people could be symbolized in with an animal, right? Though it's not, you know what I mean? People might not necessarily be an animal, or, you know what I mean, they look like or have traits of it, but it might be something like that. So you might see lions, might see birds, you might see them use serpents that could actually stand in for a humanoid that we know of. So here's ancient Africa showing that they had some of the first imagery or some of the earliest imagery of using the anamorphic type language on artwork. And so here you have the chaos sub gods, the chaos gods goddess Kak and Kakit or something like that, and they is ruled over, right? And so this is the rule over chaos. The apex rule over chaos, bloodline, blood pool, genetic, blood sun, alignment, right? The wings of the sun. And so that's some of the earliest type symbolisms. You know, you probably find some cave paintings and cave or rock art that's earlier than that, though. Perhaps so. So y'all familiar with Ant? That's the mask from Jim Carrey's The Mask movie, where they called it the Mask of Odin for some reason, if I'm not mistaken, or the Mask of Loki. That's what it was, the Mask of Loki. And so they had put that kind of Viking nose guard, you know what I'm saying, on the mask. Without it, it would just be this the Groot character. And so NVIDIA the world's leader and some do with AI microchips and shit, named their AI Groot, where Elon Musk named his Grok. And so, look, the mouth is, everything is the same. That's crazy. Like the space in the face. And so this is like trying to represent for something that's real, but not telling people. You know what I mean? So the Mayans' first people were made out of wood. Before the gods made man out of clay, they had made them out of wood. And they were intelligent, but they were too slow. So the gods went and started over, or went and made man out of clay. That's how you got mankind or whatever like that. And so when you see this concepts of them saying that it's a wood character, like they not just making it up, right? Even though they could try to say whatever, it's just a matter of fact that they talking about the earliest type of man. You know what I'm saying? And so the earliest type of man was a plant man. And what came from that was modern day humans. You know what I'm saying? And that's on God. That's like in front of the heavens. Like for sure, this is what it is. Like these people came up, like they lift them up, like in the Freemasonic ritual. You know what I'm saying? With somebody, you know, initiating the situation, watching from above, and then they get to wear a fez, and then, you know what I'm saying, they'll be like at the feet of the goddess of heaven. Like, look, that's the shadow or something. Anyways, let's go. So this concept right here is talking about plant, and they got traditions where they wearing like these outfits and shit with these circles. You know what I'm saying? So here goes some cave art, right? That looks similar. Some cave art that looks similar. It just looks similar. That's all I'm saying. It looks similar. So when they talk about plants or early pre-human type humanoids, plants really is the only place a person could even start with, unless they was going to say a slime or a germ or an atom, or you know what I mean, a minor a spherical situation. You know what I mean? Okay. A crystal solution. This right here is what they said they found in Antarctica. And what you see in here is mitosis, I think is the name of them when they separate. And so it's one being multiplying and dividing from itself to create another being. And so that's even the picture even real. Here you got the Little Shop of Horrors, and they made, this was a black plant. They gave him big red lips. The shit was racist as hell, man. Like, they talking about out of touch as beings. That's what they doing, right? So this would be one of the first proofs, right? Because first we talked about the anamorphic illustration imagery of black people. So now when you see it done on Antash and this, you get it easy, right? You see how this is a plant, right? And they gave this plant big red lips. And in the movie, he talked like he black and shit. You know what I'm saying? So they kind of made it like he was a black guy, even though he a plant. And so what that is saying that they just talking about real from the ground sprouting life form people, spirits that are from the beginning as far as back as memory and things like that accordingly. Like they saying that's how far old they is. Right? And they showed us shit in movies that, yeah, there was some wood people, but the Mayans said that for sure there was wood people, that they was older than humans, and God made them too. Ain't that some ish? Like, they'll show that they is out here with the wood people, but they ain't saying, yo, this is ancient American technology that we speaking on, y'all. They're not saying that. And now people could be able to say that. Because ain't corn from America? Then who made corn? The maize god, the god of thoughts that matter, right? Where he used his mind to think of some way to create corn. And there's so many various types of that. And then y'all know that the rice that people eat is not the original rice grown from nature. It's a hybrid, just like the pineapple, the tomato. Well, I'm gonna say tomato, but the what else? There's a whole bunch of other stuff that's hybrids, right? Like wheats and grains through horticulture. You know what I mean? Which is a knowledge of the outside. You know what I mean? The knowledge of digging in the dirt, you know what I mean? Coming in contact with plants and bugs, you know, animals and things. And then you get to that level, then it's like, all right, so which of these animals is real, which ain't? And so, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, earlier, there was a great topic that Bat brought up about the whole concept in general of taming the area. And so already speaking in code, you already know that there's disrespect. There is disrespect when they talk about these things, but they don't give credit to what they really sourced it from. Like, they won't give Black people credit for having you know, having anything to do with anything, because they killed so many of them that the people that they would literally owe money to and land and property and shit, they done already destroyed them out, tried to destroy them or whatever. But God got a better plan. Here go one movie that couldn't get enough of it. This is the movie called The Last Starfighter. And these people are definitely ancient aboriginal beings. One is the tree on the left, the other is the turtle on the right. He like a turtle reptilian. So America got some of the best evidence in the world when it comes to depicting pre-history type situations. And here's one of them where it shows you 2, 4, 6, 8. It shows you 10 different life forms. All right. And so the 10 different life forms basically start from the I don't know. Like, all right, we all want to start from it. It's like the earliest version of the bird and serpent is on the left. All right. And so, oh man, it's that cross that let's focus on the cross on the left. That's a bird, that's a winged situation, and that's like a non-winged situation that has made an X. And then next to that is like a tall humanoid headed worm that has legs of a worm, a documented worm. So it's definitely a giant version of that type of worm. All right. And so now we're going to stop looking at the left and we're going to start by looking at the right, starting with the character at the very right of the situation, which would be this guy. So I believe this represents the insectoids. You know what I'm saying? This represents the insectoids. And so I think these represent those that had came after them. Right? See, they walking together. And so here go something in the background. He represent another genetic. And so here go another set of two. See, they walking together forward. So they walking forward together. And they got this variable in the background. So now you got people that's genetically this the most. And then you got people that's genetically this the most variable. Right? They have the most variable genes. And so regardless, you got like two creatures up here that seem to be humongously vast type giants. You got what look like a living carnivorous plant that look like a carnivorous set of vines or something. So really, I don't know. I can't explain none of this. I don't know what it is, but I know that the ancient people did things that made sense. And this artwork is the best artwork in the world. If you ever wanted to break the heels, anybody trying to give you a hard time about natural or historical evidences, you know what I mean? Mainstream academia don't got bullies because they pretty much know that they gotta stay under the radar whenever these poor regular citizens start to talk shit. And I'm not saying we poor, I'm saying that, you know what I mean, the underdogs, the people that is like seem to be outnumbered, It's still the source to the bullshit that the lies. It's still the source to the situation, man, right? So we just gonna talk freely about the whole concept of reptilians is verified by South African knowledge. Who gonna deny that? Oh wait, the government also had, you know what I mean, agreed to create a move on information by saying that they did exist. Shout out to the Gullah Geechee. Shout out to Queen Quet. So look, this is American information right here. And what you see here, man, is that circle face of the plant people. You see this long neck. You see this little fin. They got the fin. You see that in the Olmec, on the Olmec. You see that? That's the same thing that Anunnaki got. So anybody looking like this was made to go out into the world and lay it down for the architects. So they basically made, that's why they got movies like Toy Soldier. Like, what's a universal soldier? What's that? A super soldier. Like, people was made and put to work, man. People was made and put to work. Look at that. So, look, people need to know. People need to respect. For real. People need to respect. Look at this. People need to respect the fact that it's way better to just be righteous. You know what I'm saying? It's way better to be righteous now. Let's be righteous, clean it up. Stop the nonsense, yo, for real. You know, if there's any, when it comes to like believing in bullshit, like from Ecuador and that's from the Middle East. What? That's a stone from the Middle East. That shit from Ecuador is like some type of iron plate or something like that. Some type of copper plate or something like that. That's a Father Crispy, you know, Catholic outpost. That's what they came up with. And so if they was giving stuff up like that to Father Crispy, and he a Catholic outpost, then what was all the stuff they done took back and got locked up in the Vatican? If we saw what they got in the Vatican, we'll know that they robbed the shit out of black people for real, man. Like, and so when they racist toward black people today, I'm saying that it's a continuation of what I'm saying since this go back to, like, hiding this history. Because look, this is just like one of many pieces of relics that they found in South America. Where the rest of them at? The rest of them been already pillaged. And they could have melted them joints down and all type of shit. Look at that. That's awesome, isn't it? That's awesome right there. Because that show you that Aboriginal Americans do have a history that they trying to hide from the world. And it's not only is it not right, but it's a part of a racist warfare that's been waged against melanated people, and unfortunately in general in the world, because when people emulate to try to be like Americans, they also want to be like white Americans. They want to be like racist Americans. And that's how people from foreign countries come here and be filled of hatred and racism towards people of color and don't want nothing to do with them, don't want to mix in with them or anything like that. But they will set up shop and make money. And so, man, they with that religious pressure that they can't cheat on their wives or they'll do none of the shit that Americans do. That's what keep their hairy ass in check, because otherwise they would have been like, yeah, but no, they got religions and shit, right? They got like little codes, like you can't drink or none of that shit, blah, blah, blah. So it's like now they got the stores, the racism, and they think that black people is heathens. According to their gods, all these dumbass gods that they got people going on. And so look, man, look. They're talking about the same people. Look, black hair, black skin, blonde hair, red lips. If we go to Korea, look, blonde hair, black skin, red lips. Look, this is an American. This is an Aboriginal American. This is Korea. Korea racist, man. Look. They telling a story. They're saying when the black man and this little Chinese robot start getting together, this is the yin and yang. This is the black and white checkerboards on the floor. This is man and his technological pursuit, and that is to create a fuckable robot, essentially. And people always was on that shit. And so look, here go. This is all from Oceania peoples over in the Pacific Islands over by Australia. And so look what they showing you. They showing you blue eyes, dark skinned people with blonde hair. Where them people at today, y'all? Why you don't even see people with a little bit of blue? I met somebody. She had a little bit of blonde on her, man. I met somebody with that. It's like rare genetics. You know what I'm saying? Like you will survive at baby hairs, or like when people get older, or when they're young. So these people, where they at? If the ancient world been talking about them, they go Australia. She Australia. Look, blonde hair, natural blonde hair. And so when we see Peru, damn Peru, what y'all doing, Peru? What's Peru doing with the blue eyes, red lips, dark skin, blonde hair? What y'all doing, Peru? They talking about what, the same shit that they talking about in other places in the world. Look, blonde hair, golden hair, red lips, dark skin. This is Chinese. This is Chinese. And so, man, look, that's China, Peru. What the hell Peru on? When the Inca come from Peru. And so they really ain't no proof that they built anything over there. They just over there because how they got this tradition that they overthrow the black people in their culture in Peru. Ain't no black people even down there, really, except for those that still might be having them ancient bloodlines. Look, this is China, and they talking about America, right? The blonde hair, red, dark skin, red lips, right? That is on a tiger. So what did Yo say in the chat earlier about the cat meaning the most dangerous cat in the building, the most dangerous people, or I mean, the most dangerous animal, wildlife, environment, the most dangerous environment. Look, heads rolled off. Like that's some like Kali Ma having that. And so this would be saying that just like Kali Ma, right? Kali was an Aboriginal concept that spread out into Asia from America, right? And so here you got a depiction of the blonde haired, dark skin, red lips. And then here you got it also in China. Now China got it where they showing it a different way, but they still talking about the same people. So so back to this woman, she got these concepts like blonde hair definitely was a thing. Asia still show it, Europe, there's still evidence found from over there. So let's see what the chat say.